Thank you for tuning into the Radicards podcast on radicards.com. I'm your host, Patrick Reno, and I have my buddy Ryan with me. Ryan, thank you for joining me.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So we're going kind of lean today, but we're going to try to make the most of this. First on the list, the disabled list gets renamed the injured list. Now, the reason for this is because not all disabled people are injured, and so they want to change that kind of perception around to just injured list. Now, that makes sense to me. I get it. I understand that. And in fact, I've always kind of had a problem with it myself anyway, because I think that way. I'm like, okay, well, disabled one is pretty extreme, but I know a lot of disabled people that are perfectly able in a lot of ways in their lives, but they're designated. They have that designation because of some one reason or another. And so I think that relabeling the DL, the injured list, the IL, is a better name for the list. Ryan, thoughts?
Yeah, I totally agree. I always thought it was a little uh, offensive in a way that it was called the disabled list,
Right.
just because that word really doesn't mean what it means within the baseball context. So,
Right.
And it's more in line with other sports. I know football, they have the IR, the injured reserve. I think NBA has a very similarly worded injured reserve or injured list or something like that. So baseball was kind of the only sport that stuck with this disabled nomenclature. Although the DL, I think, is going to stick around in the American vernacular for a while, because it just means a lot of different things. I was on the DL last week from work, aka I was out sick last week from work, or, you know, people use that a lot in like a lot of non-baseball contexts. So I think the DL is going to be around for a little while, but it'll eventually die out as we obviously don't use it in the sport anymore.
I mean, that's what happens when you make changes, right? It takes time to for the old guard to kind of get washed away and the new one to sort of take its place just naturally. I mean, we talked about this in a previous episode, how when the new year comes around, you can't automatically change your writing to match the new year. When you're writing something, it takes a week or something to get it together. So I understand that the DL will be around for a while. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So that covers our sports updates for this podcast. Thank you for listening.
That's it.
That's it. No. We're going to move right into the hobby now. Let's do this. So I had a question. I was looking at Ohtani, like the different cards that have been produced for Ohtani in 2018, and I'm like floored by it. So then it got me thinking, at what point does the number of rookie cards a player gets negatively influence final values? Okay. Now we always kind of look back on the one and done days of Ricky Henderson, and a lot of the guys, well, everybody in the 70s really. And so I looked at the number of Ohtanis that were produced in 2018 through Beckett's database, and they returned 3,064 results. That's if you were an Ohtani super collector, my gosh, you'd be up against a huge battle to try to get even a fraction of those. I think is going to be expensive, but think about that: 3,064 just for his rookie year. And that's not to include. I mean, we're barely into 2019. That number might be higher this year, right? And in 2017, we've seen there are some less than 20, but then you've got all the Japanese releases prior to that.
Sure.
So you've got a lot of these international things, and then you've got an explosion in 2018 of just pretty much anything you can find has parallels to it and autographs and all kinds of stuff. So. What was it last year? Someone told me there was a product released every week in 2018. So you have just a plethora of options. And so I always talk about, options and how they impact choice. They're at some point, too many options is debilitating. You start to lose interest at a certain point because there's so many different options. Dude, just give me the in and out menu and let's be done with it. 3 cards, done. Let's move on to the next year. But the companies are money hungry. I get it. They need to stay in business. I understand the capitalism side of this. I totally support it, and I get it. It's cool. It's fine. I just think that at some point, at what point does it become too many? That's what I'm trying to get to here. Is like, well, that's what I'm trying to where I'm trying to go. Like 30 cards, now 300 cards, now over 3,000 cards for one player for 1 year as rookie year. And I get that he was a big phenom and he was a multi-talented player. He's a hitter and a pitcher. I mean, there's a lot going on for him. He's young, very talented. So I understand that the companies are trying to make the most of that and ride out that wave as much as they can and really try to get as much back ROI, increase the ROIs as much as they can. I totally understand that. I think as somebody who does not PC Ohtani but would like to get one thing, I struggle to pick out one particular card. You know, I have an idea of the one I want, so it's way overpriced, but that if I get that one, I'm set, and I don't need the other 3,063 cards. You know, I just think that there's a lot of options here. Ryan, do you remember a time when you were up against a lot of options and you just was like, the heck with this, I'm going home?
Absolutely. I feel that way a lot when I go to hobby shops sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think you're absolutely right. 3,064 cards for a rookie year is just insane. And I think Ohtani was sort of a perfect storm of not only being a kind of phenomenal generational talent, but he didn't have to go through the rigmarole of the minor leagues and being on all these top prospect lists and being in like the Bowman draft products and the kind of minor league centric products that we see.
Right.
He was just signed on the scene, producing superstar. So I think Topps just produced, took full advantage of that situation.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a point in the season, I remember, like the big superfractors started to sell, the kind of the flagship type superfractors from Topps and Bowman products. And then all these other more high-end products started to come out with low-numbered autograph Ohtani stuff, and it just was like oversaturated. And I just didn't care about these crazy cards that people were pulling because there were just too many of them. And
yeah, well,
I would have been stoked to have pulled one myself, but it's always fun to see other people excited about their big pull. And I go on Twitter and stuff, and you see that stuff all the time. But towards the end of the baseball season, I would see this crazy Ohtani card being pulled like on a forum or on Twitter, and I wouldn't care because it's just
you've seen so many at that point.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too many, and it was kind of disheartening.
Yeah.
So, but I agree with you. I think we're on the same page from the business perspective. I'm sure they sold a lot more product because of the potential for the Ohtani craziness.
Yeah, I mean, I would have done the same if I was Topps or if I were Leaf or Panini or one of the other companies. Yeah, like it makes total sense. Like, fine. It's a lot. And like you were saying, you've seen, I don't know how many superfractors now for Ohtani with the gold vinyls that Panini makes and the superfractors Topps makes, and the stuff that Leaf produces. I lost count. Like, I stopped. I still care. I just don't think I care as much. Does that make sense? Like, I see them, I'm like, oh great, another Ohtani superfractor of like the bajillionth time. Like, it's amazing. They're great cards. I'd love to have one, but I think the like end all of the superfractors was the one that closed for like 180K. The like big one that Goodwin listed and it closed through Beckett.
Was that the Bowman?
Yeah, it was a Bowman Chrome Auto Super
that
was pulled like right when he went down to the IL.
Yes.
So it's that one to me is like the one I would want to have.
Yeah, and I think the excitement, at least for me personally, started to taper off after that.
Yeah, because you saw the big one. You saw the big. It didn't matter at that point. It's like, so like you saw the one, and then everybody else coming down through the pipeline is like, dude, the second one is always the first loser. Like second place is first place loser. That's the like, okay, like it's cool, but just not as significant as that one key piece. And so I'm facetious about calling the second place the first place loser because I used to be in Taekwondo. I used to compete, and I've gotten second place, third place, first place. So I've competed heavily, and I did really well, and I was successful in my Taekwondo years. But sometimes you have to fight hard for that second place. But in the card market, you see another superfractor come down the pipeline after the big one sells, and then there's like, hundreds more behind it, you know. And at some point, you're like, okay, another one. All right, another one. And it's kind of when I was younger, I used to watch a lot of skateboarding videos, and in high school, like skateboarding is a big part of my life. It always has been, still is even now. But you watch a skate video, and you see the first trick, the opening trick, and like, oh, it's amazing. And then like an hour later, you see a guy like 360 flip like a 20 set, and you're like, who cares? Like the biggest trick ever. Of course, I don't know if anybody's done a 360 flip down a 20 set, but you kind of get what I'm saying here. Is you can see a really gnarly trick at the end, and it wouldn't matter because you desensitized for the hours worth of amazing skateboarding.
Absolutely.
And
desensitized, I think, is
that's the word here.
The key word here.
Right. And I think seeing over 3,000 rookie cards of one player in 1 year is, I mean, I haven't like done the research, but I wonder if there's another player who has more rookie cards in their rookie year than Ohtani.
Ooh, I would highly doubt it.
Just for kicks, I'm going to see how many Strasburg how many cards were released for Strasburg in 2010.
I'm going to make a little sticker, that RC logo, and start putting it on things, see if I can sell it.
You ready for this? 2010 Strasburg? Ready for this?
Can I guess?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
I'm going to guess 399.
Wow, you're close. 330.
Okay. Well, you got me in the ballpark.
Yeah, you're in the you're certainly like in the range, like real close. I'm surprised that's close. And that's a tenth of what was released for Ohtani in 2018. A tenth. And even 330 is plenty of options. Plenty. You know, you could see like 2012 was Harper, right? 2012 Harper. 509. 2012 Harper. A fraction. It's a small fraction of the Ohtani release, right? A little bit more than Strasburg, but still small, quite a bit smaller in comparison to Ohtani's stuff for 2018. So I don't know. Go ahead.
It'll be interesting to see whenever the next big breakout star comes along, how Topps reacts. I assume they'll react in similar fashion, but I think Harper and Strasburg were probably the last huge hype guys.
Aaron Judge
in the hobby world. Do you think Judge had as much hype as those other two guys?
No, but he came on the scene. He has 2,059 cards from 2017, which was his rookie year. So it gets up there. And I know, in 2010 we didn't have Transcendent. We didn't have some of the modern brands. And so as the years progress and the companies produce more like arms of their business, more products, then you're going to see more rookie cards just as a natural byproduct. So I think that we're just going to see more and more options as the years go on and as the companies produce more and more. When this happened with Fleer back in, I think I'd say like the 2000s, and this happened with Donruss around the same time. So Pacific did something like this in the late 90s, early 2000s. Pinnacle did this in 98. And what I'm saying is that these companies produced so many different products that some of them went belly up because of it. When you dilute your brand to a point where, you have so many different, your money goes in so many different ways, it's like putting a Starbucks across from a Starbucks. It like cannibalizes the profits for both of the companies, both of the buildings, both of the entities. So that's actually bad for business when you produce too many options in that way. Customer has a hard time when their customers putting their money toward option A of say 100 options. They're not putting their money toward the 99 other options. Does that make sense? And so all the other 99 aren't getting that customer's money. Whereas if you had 3 options, it's less of a hit. Does that make sense? Because each individual product that the companies are making it requires, marketing, and it requires product design. It requires manufacturing. It's a huge cost. And so you're diluting your funds back into the product with all these to try to maximize a return to give the customer enough options. But I think at some point you're going to see a tipping point, and there's going to be too many products, and the company won't be able to get enough profits back to keep some of these products going, and some of them will kind of go shuffle by the wayside. I know Topps released Topps Sterling some years back, and then it like kind of went dormant for a while. I mean, I predict that if this continues, we'll see some stuff being deprioritized from Topps and Panini and Leaf. Some of these companies will find out that there are certain arms or there are certain products they release that do better than others. And the ones that don't perform well, at least if they're smart, they'll do this. They will deprioritize the low performers and they'll focus more on the ones who are performing. And this is standard business protocol 101, right? So when I see 2,000 and 3,000 cards of one player for 1 year, I think I predict that, this may signal some kind of tipping point at some point where some of these products will be kind of shuffled out because they weren't good sellers. Can you think of some products that weren't good sellers over the years? I can think of at least two.
Not off the top of my head.
Triple Play.
Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of a seller in the 90s, 92, 93, right? But it sort of like phased itself out after the 94 release. It wasn't like a thing anymore.
Right.
Even when they brought it back, Panini brought it back for like kids. I don't know anybody who's showed off hits from Triple Play. That's one thing that comes to mind. Topps opening day, I don't think has ever done that well. It's just a reproduction of the same base set with like a different border color and a different stamp. I don't know how well it does, but it just because there's not a hit potential. That's what a lot of people are after. I think
it's mostly marketed towards kids, right? Like really younger.
Yeah, and you know what? I think we're fooling ourselves to believe that there's a huge kid market in the hobby.
Yeah, that's what I always think too. Is there really a kid going up there spending $1.99 on packs?
There may be a kid or two, but there's not like large, if stadiums full of kids like there was in the 90s, like my old generation. And we've all grown up and have jobs and, we have money to spend. And so we do that now. But I think in a lot of ways it'll always be an adult hobby. And I think that kids will grow into the hobby as they get older, if that makes sense. Because their parents are collecting, they're going to get their kids in the hobby. So it's just going to take time to see that kind of come back. But I mean, whatever. I'm just kind of talking your ear off right now about this sort of finance piece of it, operations and logistics piece of it. I just wanted to discuss it because I feel like over 3,000 rookie cards is, which one do I get?
And if you are confused about which one to target, I would just try and stick with the flagship products. And you see like the Trout stuff, the Bowman Sterling or Bowman Platinum, those types of products, they sell well and they feature Trout.
Pro debut.
Big cards in there, but nothing compared to Topps Update.
Right.
All those more cornerstone type products. So if you are looking to drop some cash on an Ohtani, look at Bowman, look at Topps Chrome, look at Bowman Chrome.
Yeah, you can get look, like if you're not into the autograph thing, get a parallel from the standard flagship Bowman product. They're great. Yes. If you're into the autograph thing, there are lots of options, and they've come down in value since we're in the off season. He's doing Tommy John right now. It's a good time to buy. If you're doing the Ohtani thing, it's certainly a good time to buy right now. And heck, I scout Ohtani stuff just because I'm curious. I'm always looking at his stuff just because I'm curious to see what's coming through the pipeline, how well certain things are selling. I really like the Topps. I guess it's the archive stuff from last year, the 83 design that you showed me, Ryan. I like that. I mean, it's cool. I like that Topps does that. Topps does a lot of things really well. And I think one of the things I love that they do is produce classic designs in a modern format. I think it's really cool. And so I thought that's very tasteful. I'm a fan. So anyway, enough about that. Over 3,000 different cards for Ohtani in 2018 alone. So moving on. Stuff in the hobby. Here's some cards that have sold. They're significant sales, and I want to talk about them. So first thing on the list here is 1994 Donruss buyback, autograph 1/1 Nolan Ryan. It closed super cool, man, really cool. I watched this. It closed with 34 bids at $148.49. Man, just shy of 150. What a great card to have. I mean, I was talking to you, Ryan, about this before we started recording. Is that would it be nice to have like just a couple of grand just to throw out every month on cool stuff like this?
Mm-hmm.
This would be one of those cards. I'm like, man, it's a serendipitous buy, but what a great one to have, And so on card, it's got that classic Recollection Collection stamp on it. It was sold through Probstein raw. I like it. I think this stuff is rad. So that closed. That was the last time the last year we saw him on cards in a mainstream product, and that was also the year after his retirement. And I remember pulling this card in 94 and being like, oh, I guess he's still in baseball, but he had already retired in 94. That was like his first year of retirement. So it's a great card. Ryan, you want to share thoughts since this is your guy?
Yeah, I had never actually ever seen this card before. And it's kind of rare to see these kind of specialty autograph 101s from that era sell for that cheap. At least I think it's cheap anyways.
Yeah, super cheap. Way cheap. Thought it was going to do better.
Yeah, this was a Probstein listing, right?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, the seller's crushing it. Lots of awesome stuff.
Super awesome stuff. I'm a buyer of Probstein. I bought a Ryan Leaf card from them recently, the 99 Donruss Precious Metals Silver from them. Rare card. They only printed 25 of those. Got it in the mail today, actually. It's really nice. Those are awesome cards. I'm a big fan. Moving on, right? So the next one on our list is 1996 Leaf Signatures Gold Auto, Derek Jeter, PSA 10. It closed with 40 bids, and get this, it closed at $10,100. Huge money, right, for this card. So I knew the 96 Leaf Signature Gold Autos were popular. It took me forever to find the Thomas. And, they sell really well, depending on the player, of course. But the Stars, they always sell really well. I didn't expect the 5-figure end price. Just didn't expect it. I mean, I'm floored by it. It's great. But I'm so glad I don't collect Jeter. Every single time I see sales like this, I'm like, gosh, I'm so glad I don't PC Jeter. Be a nightmare.
Yeah, that's so much money for a card. So there's a Mariano Rivera up right now. If anyone's interested, same card. It's kind of cool. These are some of my favorite autograph cards.
Oh yeah.
If I could swing it, I'd put together the set because they're
yeah.
so cool. And they also are very frustrating because some of the players didn't take the hint to autograph it at the bottom of the card, and they just sort of autographed it wherever they felt like it, which kind of ruins the card, I think, because it's a super clean design. But yeah, really cool card.
Yeah, David Ortiz is an offender of that in the 1998 run, Donruss Signature, where he signs like along the side edge, where he has this beautiful nameplate space for a signature, and he's like, "Oh, I'll sign it over here."
So obvious where to sign
what the heck, man?
Yeah,
You'd like send them all back and have him sign them a second time.
This set, the 96 Leaf Signature Series, is also cool because it's such a big set.
It's huge.
I want to say, is everybody in the base set also in this autograph set?
The autograph set is hundreds of cards, and the base set is a limited run.
Okay. So yeah, it's hundreds of cards. I guess that's my point. There's a lot of obscure guys from the mid 90s, and you can get them fairly cheap. Like I'm looking at a couple: Mike Stanley, Jeff Supin,
so
the Todd Jones.
The base set the base set is 150 cards, like the non-autograph thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But if you've got the autograph, like there's like the bronze, the silver, and the gold parallels. That's when things start to get pretty hairy. There's 252 of the golds, 252 of the silvers, and then 254 of the bronze. That's a strange. I don't know what the extra 2 cards there. And then there's the extended run, which is 218 autographs. But yeah, the base set is just 150 cards, and it's mostly the star players of the day. And so what I like about this set, Ryan, and you know this too, is it's all on card.
Yes.
But it's the first time where players that weren't like superstar talent got a chance to autograph a card, get a card into packs that was autographed.
Is that because they promised an autograph in every box or something, or in every pack?
It was every pack.
Every pack.
But the packs, if I can recall, were like 10 or 15
expensive.
Bucks a pack. And back in 96 when I was making like $5 to $7 allowance every week, that was a lot of money. Yeah. I had my friend buy a pack. Well, he wanted to buy one. I was like, dude, I want to be there when you buy one. He bought one, and I remember us opening it there, and he got a Tom Candiotti autograph, and I was like, still, even though it's like a nobody, You
Still
know,
cool.
still cool. It's on card. I don't know if he kept it, but I have a very vivid memory of that. I was really happy to be there to witness that. Such a cool. We were so floored that you can get an autographed card per pack. That was like a holy heck moment. You know, such an important set. I've thought about putting this together the set as well of the bronze autographs, but I don't want to spend any money on buying the Jeter and the other players. I didn't want to. I was just like, it's too much money. You know, I'd rather put it towards something else. But that's been attempted. I saw a binder once of the set online on eBay.
I have the most significant card from this set.
Oh,
by the way.
Here we go.
I got the Rex Hudler.
The Rex Hudler. I was just gonna say the Rex Hudler.
I think I have the bronze and the silver. I definitely have the bronze.
You got to get the run, man. See if you can get the silver and the gold, because
Yeah.
it took me a while to pull that run together. I mean, those are hard cards to pull together, man. They're tough. The gold is especially difficult. Silver can be very tough as well, but yeah, they're great cards. Great cards. Anyway, so that 96 Leaf signature gold auto Jeter PSA 10 closes at $10,100. Next on our list is 2005 Bowman Chrome Red Refractor Auto Matt Kemp rookie card. Yeah, closed at 30 bids at $549. Now, I watched this, and I was like, man, if this closes below like a certain number, I want to see if I can try to get it. But it went way beyond my budget, which I expected. I was like thinking like $300 to $500. I was like, that's where I expect it. But at that point, I was like, if it goes to that point, it's out of my budget, and I'm just going to watch it. But I expect it to go within that range, $300 to $500. And $540 is, just beyond it. But that's, from his popularity in the current market, it's just not where it used to be, say, 10 years ago. And this card 10 years ago would be well over the four figures easy. This is the first time I've seen the red refractor. I've seen blues before and golds and all the other ones, but never saw red until recently. If you're unfamiliar, the number to 5, he only signed 5 of them. They only printed 5 copies of the red refractor. So cool stuff. I like this. This is a great ad for the buyer. Whoever ended up buying this is just an awesome card. I don't have anything Matt Kemp. I just wanted one nice thing. This would have fallen into that really well. But yeah, I wanted to touch on that. Do you remember the hype over Matt Kemp?
Oh yeah, of course. I think Matt Kemp sort of might fade into obscurity here soon. So if you wait a couple of years, you might be able to pick up some of these nice pieces. But 2005 Bowman Chrome is a very cool product as well.
Oh, I love the design on that product. It's
the most significant card being
the Hank Conger. Easy.
No,
there's the Verlander. He's in 05, isn't he?
Yeah, Verlander is.
There's a couple other guys in that set.
Jacoby Ellsbury's in it.
Yeah, he's in that set too.
Significant as Verlander, but still.
Isn't Verlander? Wouldn't he be the hit in that run?
He must be the hit. He's got to be. Because Scherzer was what, 07?
Yeah.
Yep. I would say Verlander for sure. But really cool. These designs, I think they kind of went away from these designs after 2005.
Correction. Scherzer was an 07 product for the Donruss Elite rookie stuff, but I think that he's an 08 guy for rookie.
That sounds right.
Tops was that 08? He's with the Clayton Kershaw year. That was his year.
Okay.
Yeah, but 05 is a good year for Bowman. I always liked it. We talked about this before that it's the first year of the Superfractor, so it's sort of it's like the pivotal moment in the hobby in that way. Big fan of the design. It's just a good looking. They're good. They're just good looking cards, And the red refractors they're just nice. They're just nice looking cards. I like them.
Mm-hmm.
So I was happy to watch this and kind of see where this went. And I wasn't completely shocked by the end price. It's just more like, yeah, I expected it to be around that. I was it's too bad that I couldn't finance it. I would have loved to have this card. It would have been one of those like top 10 list worthy type cards. But certainly just there's always something else, man. There's always something. So yeah, that's it. 2005 Bowman Chrome Red Refractor Auto Matt Kemp closes with 30 bids at just shy of $550. Moving on, we've got something listed in the market recently that's pretty significant. It's 1994 Finest Refractors. Remember those? The sophomore release of Topps Finest. Baseball. Full set. 440 cards gets listed on eBay for $3K OBO. I mean, okay, here's the thing with this with me, okay? When I see $3,000, it's a lot. I'm like, it's a lot of money. I guess, would it cost me more to buy these cards individually or less? And how long would it take me? That's what I look at. What about the big cards too, the Griffey and the Ripken and some of the other guys that might bring in the dollars in this product? Are they going to hold me down or set me back? Granted, it's not 93s, so you're not going to see those crazy high figures, but 94 is pretty popular too. And they're 440 different cards, right? So let's just do a little bit of math here. Let's say we took 3,000 divided it by 440. Okay, that comes out to about $6.8 per card. Now you're going to say some of these cards are going to be $1, $2 cards, a lot of them. And then some of them are going to be more, like Thomas and Griffey and Ripken and maybe even Jeff Bagwell, some of the Hall of Famer guys. But no, I part of me still feels like the 3K might be a bit high, but there is an OBO option. So then I ask myself, well, what would I offer if I were just to offer this and it was like something that would be fair? Brian, what would you offer? 1,000? 1,200?
I was thinking no more than 1,500.
Yeah, 15 would be my cap too, I think, on this.
And that's after looking at the collection and kind of, because these are pretty condition sensitive. I think just that finish that could be scratched easily, and from the pictures they look fine, but you never really know until you put your own eye on it. But yeah, I'd be somewhere in that 1,200 to 1,500 range,
right?
If I were interested. This guy also, or this seller, selling the football set from that same year for the same price, which is kind of interesting, and it's half the cards. Now, I don't know football hobby well enough to know if there's a lot of significance here, but it's less cards, 220 cards specifically,
half the amount of cards.
Yeah, and he wants the same price.
Well, that set has Hall of Famers too, right?
Yeah,
like
that's what I was thinking. I think there's a lot of stinkers in the 94 baseball. So, but football is a little more stacked.
A lot of good guys in the football run. I mean, he's got the pictures here: Emmitt Smith, Jerry Rice, Deion Sanders, John Elway, Joe Montana, Troy Aikman, Tim Brown, Art Monk, Barry Sanders. I mean, those might be some of, if not all, the best ones in the set. But still, I think to myself, like, money is just one resource. Time is the other one, right? It's the intangible. The tangible being money, the intangible being time. And you have to, like, how much time would it take you to put this set together? And then the other part is, how much time would it take me to save up $3,000? And if it takes me less time to save up $3,000 by a huge margin, then it might make sense to obviously place an offer and to see where you can go with this. Because if it's if it could take you 10 years to put this set together, like, well, is 10 years of your life worth $3,000 or less? And if the answer to that is absolutely, then it might make sense to, get an offer out and see if you can get this going. But I'm pretty impressed that he has both sets. I mean, even if one's half the size of the other, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's really cool. But yeah, I think I agree. That's a great way of thinking about it, about your own time. Thinking about buying all these cards individually, buying 440 cards individually, that's kind of a crazy task to accomplish. So the fact that they're all right there in front of you, you have to weigh your options.
This guy has really awesome inventory, by the way. Looks like he's pursued ardently the finest sets from the different sports. He's also got a set of 94 finest hockey refractors, 165 cards, with a straight bin of 750. I mean, that's incredible. Even I don't know if the price is right, but that's incredible that he has all of these. He's got a set of 93 Topps Finest baseball refractors, 184 cards. He's actually 15 cards short of the complete set, $9,000. Buy it now. That's pretty. I mean, this is heavy hitter stuff, man. Like, really impressive heavy hitter stuff. You just don't see every day. So I'm glad you pointed out his other auctions. They're impressive. Oh, if you're in the market for a 93-94 finest basketball refractor complete set, Jordan included, $2,000. bin as well. Same seller. Amazing. Just incredible stuff. Really, really incredible. And there's other miscellaneous finest auctions and bins on his, actually all bins on his other items. So cool stuff. I just want to talk about that because it's not something you see on listed on eBay every day. There's certain pieces that you're like, man, I'm floored that they even exist. You're like, wow. One guy put together, once I saw an entire run of the red bordered parallels of 2011 Topps Update, the whole set.
Wow.
I once saw a gold parallel version, same set with the trout. I'm like, just dude, how would it take you forever to get that done? You know, granted, they're asking a price that would, validate that, like that's hefty. But I like stuff like this because it's like I'm not going to be a buyer, but it's cool to look at them, the pictures. Like, wow, I get to see a whole set of 94 finest refractors. He doesn't show every single card, but still, it's like you got the box and the key pieces like displayed or whatever. Just it's rad. I like that. So Ryan, you have any final thoughts?
I'm freezing my butt off in California, and I can't wait for baseball season.
It's so cold in New Mexico right now. It's like yesterday I was walking around UNM, and it was like 20 something with a wind chill, and it felt like it was like negative. I mean, it was so cold. I'm like, dude, can we just skip winter and go right in the summertime?
Yeah, I want to just fall asleep tonight and wake up, and it'll be like
80 degrees.
March 31st, just kicking into springtime.
Oh man.
But alas, that is not possible.
Not yet.
And if you're listening from East Coast or Midwest, I know we sound like a bunch of wimps, but it's all relative,
right?
We're just not used to it. We're not used to this kind of weather, and I have every right to complain about it.
Yeah, I mean, I always think like some people have it worse.
Oh, there's millions of people have it worse right now. So that's the one thing I take solace in. Is at least I'm not snowed in somewhere where it's negative 20. So.
Yeah, just wishing all the people in that vortex all the best and hoping they can stay warm and ride it out the best they can, So, and if you're listening and you're there, I'm wishing you all the best, and thank you for tuning in while you're there and trying to stay warm. So thanks, Ryan, for hopping on this podcast with me.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you for tuning in to Radicards podcast and Radicards.com. I'm your host, Patrick Reno, and until next time, enjoy collecting. If you like this content, please subscribe. Thank you. Enjoy collecting.